Class 10th students, it is a short video clip from the chapter Heredity and Evolution. In this video, you are going to read or know about Mendel's monohybrid cross. As you know that George Mendel was the biologist who came in knowledge about the inheritance of traits, which is known as heredity. So now, what is monohybrid cross? It is a cross between two organisms of the same species which studies the inheritance of a single character. Now, steps of Mendel's monohybrid cross. George Mendel chosen two plants, which was the pea plant, for his crossing. The height of such plants were tall and dwarf. Then after, he dusted the pollen grains from one pea plant upon the stigma of another pea plant. The homozygous allele for the tall pea plant was represented by him by the alphabet's capital letter T, and homozygous allele for the dwarf pea plant by a pair of small t. The result of such cross was similar. The pea plants produced in F1 generation, these all were tall. The genotype of F1 plants were heterozygous, means not pure tall, hybrid tall. Means in that plant there were also the gene for shortness. So F1 plants resembled only one parent. They all were tall. So one question arose in his mind about the disappearance of featured shortness or the dwarf. Further, the plants of F1 generation were allowed to perform self-pollination or self-fertilization. Mendel collected seeds of the new generation and plant produced from them were F2 generation plants. F2 plants appeared in the ratio of 3:1, means 3 tall and 1 dwarf. They were in the ratio of 75% and 25%. The question what was in his mind about second trait, dwarf, appeared in F2 generation. It means second trait must have hidden in F1 generation. The phenotypic ratio, which is 3:1, can be also represented by this form 1:2:1, that is known as the genotypic ratio. So while performing this cross, he came in knowledge about the expression of traits. The trait which expresses in the hybrid is called the dominant trait, which was the tall, and the second trait which is unable to express itself in the presence of dominant trait is called the recessive trait, which was the dwarf, that was not expressed in F1 generation. Here is the monohybrid cross of tall and dwarf pea plant up to 2 generation, whatever represented by Mendel in letter form. The F1 generation plants were all tall, they were hybrid tall, and such plants were used by him as parent plants for F2 generation. In F2 generation, the plants which were produced in them, maximum of were tall and some of were dwarf, means the appear feature was in F2 generation was the dwarf, which were absent in F1 generation. Now in next video about the dihybrid cross. Thanks.